Minecraft servers. Some of the best times can be had on these servers, with fascinating discoveries and incredible memories being created every day. However, where there is happiness, darkness and depression can be found close by. While those people are making thousands of incredible memories on these Minecraft servers, there are thousands of memories that are being made that aren't as bright and cheery. As dark and depressing as that sounds, it brings us into today's story, where I discuss the recent events with AffinityMC and the drama that has quickly unfolded between me and the AffinityMC network. Now, before I continue with this, I just want to express that I'm not making this video to slander or harm anyone's reputation, but merely to tell my side of a story I feel was not able to be properly represented. Now, with that out of the way, let's get straight into the story. So, this story all begins a couple months ago, when I had run out of options on my public SMP. The server wasn't able to fund itself anymore, and I had two options. I could close the server now, or I could give the server to one of my friends at the time, named Bumcob. Bumcob was an older figure, and ran a server called AffinityMC, which he had let me do a couple sponsorships on previously, and they went fairly smoothly. Bumcob had realized that he was one of my only options for receiving the server, and would constantly speak about what it would mean for AffinityMC to take public SMP as another game mode, to the point where I just didn't want to say no to him. Now, some people could call that manipulation above, and as much as I'd like to agree with you, I just really can't. What happened in the first place was realistically my own fault, and through the whole process, although I felt pressured, I would say that's more of the fact because I like helping people in any way possible, more than Bumcob implementing pressure onto me. Either way, manipulation or not, I gave Bumcob and AffinityMC access to public SMP, and when I did this, Bumcob had me sign a contract. This will become more important later in the story, but I did not have a parental figure co-sign with me, so the contract, it was void to begin with. I would love to show you all the contract, but I can do no such thing, due to the fact that Bumcob has unshared me from the Google document that the contract was on, and I don't have any way of accessing the document. Now, after I signed this contract, the changes went underway. I forwarded my domain to AffinityMC's network, and for around 2 months, it was all smooth sailing. During this time period, I got used to Bumcob, and we talked often, and he helped me with various issues, and he even spoke to my parents semi-frequently. Nonetheless, I believed at the time that Bumcob was to be a trusted figure, and I frequently asked him for advice on various topics. However, around 3 months after I made this deal with the Bumcob and AffinityMC, things started to get quieter. See, when I was first at AffinityMC, I was completely involved in all of the various changes that were happening on the network, and I was still mainly in charge of my community. However, at this point, things started changing rapidly. Now, this wasn't to say that changes were becoming infrequent. Changes were still happening on a regular, but I just wasn't being involved in the changes anymore, and it's almost like my position was one of a figurehead. Sure, I could fly around on all the servers, but I wasn't being asked for my opinion on various changes that were happening around the network. To take for an example, when we had decided to reset the public SMP, we were faced with a decision on what to do for a theme on public SMP. I voiced the want for a summer theme since it was almost summer, and after that suggestion was taken, I asked them if I could see the spawn, or could I at least have an input on picking which spawn we used. That request was promptly denied, with Bumcob telling me that we've got it covered. This pattern repeated for a while, when finally they did something that pushed me over the edge around a week ago. The owners decided to make a whole separate branch of the staff team called the Build Team, and hired 3 or 4 builders to the branch, all without mentioning it to me. At this point, I just didn't see the point of keeping my position, since it clearly wasn't even being used anymore. So, on the 13th of July, I resigned from my position from AffinityMC and left the server and rejoined to clear my roles. I was DM'd by Bumcob later in the day when I explained to him why I had resigned from the network and said that if he wanted me to come back, that I could. I asked him to respond if he wished me to come back twice, and he did not respond either times. On the 16th of July, he contacted me again, asking me to come back, But at this point, I had already reached out to CryHosting, a Minecraft company that offers cheap servers hosted on the fastest processor in the world currently, a Ryzen 9 5950X. Make sure to use code SOURCE for 15% off when you purchase a new server. And yes, I just snuck a sponsorship in there. Get baited. Anywho, Bumcob asked me which hosting company had reached out to me, as you can see on the screen, and I linked him to CryHosting. On the 19th and 20th of July was when the really intense drama actually happened. During the day, I messaged Bumcob telling him that the partnership was finalized, and that meaning that I would not be returning to AffinityMC after all. Bumcob then shifted the conversation towards my domain, and asked what I wanted to do with the domain, since, per our agreement, he owned the domain. I then sent him the document. I can't access it anymore, sadly, as I mentioned earlier, and said that I didn't just see anything about him owning the domain in the agreement. After looking over the document, I assume, Bumcob said that even though we don't own the domain, he said that the line which stated that AffinityMC reserves the right to use the server name SourceAdmin's public SMP, or any relation to SourceAdmin in regards to the SMP, social media, and advertising, gave him the right to use the domain. Now obviously, this line is debatable if it gives AffinityMC access to the domain, but my interpretation of the line was that they can use my server name and anything related to the advertising and social media of the public SMP. And since the domain was just a way to connect to the server and it itself isn't a form of advertisement or social media, I disagreed on the point there. However, I'd like to hear your guys' POV on this topic in the comments section of this video. But either way, even if this line somehow allowed him to use the domain, the contract was not legally binding in any way, so there's no way for him to claim ownership of it. Anyways, after I stated that I disagreed with his interpretation of the line, Bumcob then just asked me if I wished to back out of the contract that I signed, and here's where things get confusing. I said that I would like to formally back out of the contract that me and you signed, even though it's not legally binding in any way, shape, or form. Bumcob disagreed with this, and said it is legally binding since it involves a form of value. Now, I'm not exactly a lawyer of any kind, but a quick Google search pulls up billions of articles that state that contracts signed by minors, I am under the age of 18 in case you didn't already understand that, aren't actually contracts to begin with, and are voided to begin with. I can't find what Bumcob was saying about it involving a form of value anywhere on the internet, but if anyone who understands what he is saying here could comment on what he meant, that would be very useful, and I would appreciate it very much. Me and him went back and forth on this topic for quite some time, until later in the evening when he decided to make the situation public. Anthony, the other owner of AffinityMC, posted this announcement that stated the following. I am making this important announcement to inform you guys that as of today, we are no longer associated or involved or partnered with SourceAdmin in any way, shape, or form. So we'd like to give some insight as to why/how this happened. Around a week ago, on July 13th, SourceAdmin decided to resign from his position of AffinityMC. He made this decision over the creation of the build team. The build team was set up for the AffinityMC network, not the public SMP. We never fully clarified, but SourceAdmin never owned any part of AffinityMC. He only retained certain rights to public SMP. SourceAdmin also claimed that we have been trying to kick him out, which is simply not true. No one at any time attempted to demote, fire, or remove SourceAdmin from AffinityMC. Today, Bumcob discussed with SourceAdmin whenever he had not had any interest in coming back. He had decided not to, and also decided to break the agreement he made with AffinityMC. As per the agreement, we were allowed to use Play.Publicsmp.Xyz to connect. We highly recommend that you connect using one of the following IP addresses. I'm not going to say them because self-promotion denied. While some of you may be upset, nothing else is changing. Public SMP will remain fully operational and nothing will change. The reason that we are telling you this is because we are firm believers of transparency and honesty. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask and we will answer them to the best of our ability. I understand that you might not be able to see the screenshots on the screen, but they're all going to be linked in the description if you want to take a closer look at them. Now, after seeing this announcement from my friend Jane, I quickly started typing up my own response to this, which mainly covers what I don't agree with in this announcement. My rebuttal to the announcement reads as follows. Hey everyone, seems like Bumcob and Anthony made an announcement about me resigning from the server, and I wanted to clear up some stuff that wasn't true and show my side of the story. 1. Me quitting my post as head admin was not due to the creation of the build team, but due to the fact that the owners of AffinityMC never involved me in anything that went on in the server. This had been going on for a while now, and finally, once they made a build team without informing me, I made the decision to resign. 2. The domain. Now, what was said about AffinityMC being able to use the domain just wasn't true. They had me sign a contract that Bumcob insisted was legally binding to me, a minor, with no parental figures co-signing, and that in that contract, the closest thing that there was to a mention of the domain was as follows. AffinityMC reserves the right to use the server name, SourceAdmin's public SMP, or any relation to SourceAdmin in regards to the SMP, social media, and advertising. Now, an IP itself can be used to advertise and connect to the server, but it itself isn't a form of advertising. So technically, they didn't really have any permission to use the domain. It was only the fact that I allowed them to use the domain that they could use it. So, to do the same thing that Bumcob has done here, anything related to me has no correlation to AffinityMC, and I will be starting my own server shortly that is actually properly maintained with staff members involved in the current events that go on in the server. DM me for details, / if this message gets removed, check my YouTube channel. Even though all of this is happening, I'd like to apologize to my original community for this whole fiasco. If only I could have seen that this would have happened before I made the deal, I never would have. Yeah, even though this message was created at 2 a.m. and out of pure anger, it got what I wanted to say across, although there is 2 things I really would like to add. 1. When Anthony said that I had claimed to be removed, kicked out, etc., this was referring to me telling Bumcob that he hasn't been involving me at all, and never said that he was trying to kick me out. 2. Anthony saying that I never had any ownership of AffinityMC. Now, this point is true, but very misleading. I was a head admin of the AffinityMC network and an owner of public SMP. What this means is I was an actual owner of public SMP, but the highest level staff member on all the other game modes. So sure, I didn't own anything outside of public SMP, but I was still a staff member, and I believe that that means I should be involved in the decisions that are made to the overall server. Now, I went to post my message in Affinity's server, but when I tried to join back, it told me that I was banned. And I found this to be kinda ironic, because in Anthony's message, he stated that they value transparency, and that they clearly didn't want me to tell my side of the story. Soon after this, anyone related to me was banned from AffinityMC, with the reason not welcome on AffinityMC, which was pretty annoying to me, since my friends didn't do anything, but neither did I. After all my friends got banned, I went on an alternate account and posted my message in the general chat of the AffinityMC's network Discord. Some of my friends got on alts and asked questions and broke some of the rules, but I didn't ask them to do this, and they did this all of their own accord. Around 10 minutes after I posted my message, Bumcob deleted my message in AffinityMC and banned my alternate account along with all of my friends' alternate accounts. But at this point, it didn't really matter. I had gotten my old community informed about my new Minecraft server, and they seemed to be very excited about the idea. Me and Bumcob had a final conversation about this, which I'll be putting in the video description, but that conversation ended with him cutting off all contact with me, so there has been no more drama to this day. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video and letting me tell my side of the story. I've wanted to do this for a while now, but have been too busy building the game modes on my Minecraft server, Evero. Evero is a Minecraft server that has 3 main game modes, Public SMP, Anarchy, and MCMMO. If this sounds interesting to you, you can join the Evero Discord and the Evero Minecraft server with the links on the screen right here, and of course, both links will be down in the video description. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the very near future. Bye bye.